Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bag of Giving. We're back for another exciting one-shot. This time we have Bag of Giving presents That Which Has Been Lost, a special homebrew Fate core adventure brought to us by Dave Robison, who Bag of Giving viewers will know from the Boy Problems game and Aegon. And did you do anything else for us yet, Dave? I think at least two? Yeah.
But it's just those two so far, and this.
Well, it certainly won't be the last if I have anything to say about it.
Oh, good.
Folks who don't know me already from being a mod and active on this channel, I'm Michael R. Underwood, author, podcaster, and co-host of Speculate, which Arvin Elleron, our host here, also co-hosts, which we do alongside Brandon O'Brien. This is Bag of Giving, a charity actual play series created by Brandon Crilly and myself. Bag of Giving came together with two specific goals in mind: bring together fellow creatives to have some fun and put a little bit of good out into the world as well. On the having fun side, we've had an amazing time in these months working with colleagues and meeting new people and bringing folks together for a lot of fun and bringing some good attention to organizations that are fighting the good fight, doing good work, and things like that. You can find out more about Bag of Giving at bagofgiving.org, which I will put in the chat here. Any mods who are around, I would invite you to be liberal with the application of the various Bag of Giving commands to keep everyone reminded as to what our details are. Lovely, thank you, Rudino. We are extending our support of Max Ottawa and TENT into this month. So Max Ottawa offers group, individual, and community support and education programs by and for guys into guys in the Ottawa region. They provide mental and physical health services, harm reduction supplies, and more. You can find them at maxottawa.ca, which I'm going to put in the chat there. Since we were already supporting these charities, and now this month is Pride, so it made sense to keep that rolling, especially giving world events. And TENT is the Transgender Education Network of Texas. TENT is an organization dedicated to furthering gender diverse equality in Texas. They work to accomplish this through education and networking in both public and private forums. Through their efforts, they strive to halt discrimination through social, legislative, and corporate education. Find them at transtexas.org, which we have here. And by watching, you are supporting our efforts here, which is lovely. If you are also in a position to be able to make a material financial donation to one or both of these organizations or some other organization that you want to support, you can enter to win one of our fabulous prizes. So how you do this: 1, pick a charity. 2, donate what you can through their website. We don't take money. We ask you to give them money, and then you tell us about it, and we give you the thumbs up and enter you. This makes things much easier. When you do that donation, when you get the confirmation, take a screenshot of their proof of donation. What you need is who you're donating it to and how much you're donating. Please do not dox yourself. So don't put your credit card number or your home address in that. We don't need that, and would rather it not be sent across the internets because OPSEC is important. For every $5 Canadian or equivalent in your whatever your mode of payment is, you will get one entry into our giveaways. This month we are, Aridno saying, do not dox yourself, thank you. We're giving away a writing critique. I don't remember which one we've already given away, so I will have to follow up on that. Brandon, see if you're here hanging out, if you could let me know which one we're doing this month, that's great. So that is that. And I think that is all of the Bag of Giving things. So now I'm going to toss to our GM for this session, Dave Robison.
He's unmuted, therefore he can speak. Huzzah! I was just transcribing everybody's names into the thing, but I can hold off on that because let's talk about what we're doing today. Today we're using all sorts of intriguing bits come together for this afternoon, this evening's, wherever you are, entertainment. We're using Fate Core as the essential game mechanic for telling this story. If you're not familiar with Fate Core, I highly recommend it. It is very much a situational, story-oriented game system. Basically, you've got every roll is done with 4 dice. If you roll a 5 or a 6, it's a +1. If you roll a 1 or a 2, it's a -1. If you roll a 3 or 4, nothing. You roll all 4 dice, tally up your total, add any modifiers like for your stats or anything like that, and that total is how many successes you made. It determines whether you succeed or fail. Yes. Oh, was that a hand up or a thumbs up? Excellent. I'll take it. There are only 4 things that you can do in Fate Core. You can overcome, you can create an advantage, you can attack, and you can defend. Every action that you undertake in this game system falls under one of those 4 categories. So you're trying to overcome an obstacle. You're trying to create an advantage, which will give you a bonus on subsequent rolls, or introduce a situation into the environment where your other players, your fellow characters, can tap that advantage and get bonuses to their die rolls. Attack is a direct physical assault of some kind. Defend is the exact opposite. And so the rolls that you make and the successes that you make along these lines, aligned with various skills and abilities like physique, notice, academics, shoot, fight, and so on, determine the outcome of any contested element. That's pretty much the essence of Fate Core. The game is taking place in a world that I have been developing for entirely too long, called the Shattered Worlds. Just very briefly to give you a quick overview of this, in the Shattered Worlds, the continuity of reality has shattered. Okay, instead of a single universe, there are hundreds of little pocket realities called shards, floating in this vast emptiness called the void. These reality shards are referred to collectively as the many worlds by the millions of sentient beings that dwell within the fragile embrace of these shards. The way that communication and transport and culture and commerce is conducted between these shards is through the grace of what are called rift walkers, a few rare individuals who, anybody else that goes out into the void, when you move to the edge of a reality, there's the gray mist. And if you keep going through the gray mist, you're in the void. And you're pretty much done, because there's nothing you can do. You're suspended in this void of nothing, and you slowly just waste away. But rift walkers can hear the other realities in the void, and they can take other people with them. So through the grace of rift walkers, ships, commerce, culture, communication is all facilitated between the various shards. So this adventure is going to take place on a couple of shards within the core of the Shattered Worlds environment. And so let me give you an introduction to what we're going to be dealing with today in this adventure titled That Which Has Been Lost. On the reality shard of Valvira, a sworn enemy offers a path to redemption, but can that which has been lost ever truly be reclaimed? This is going to feature the crew of the Storm Queen, who were once based out of Palathos, the center of all worlds, the shining metropolis, the city shard of the core shards. Over the years, they had built a small fleet of ships and fostered connections with administrators and city guard, and created a smuggling network that brought in the exotic, the decadent, and the forbidden. All of that came crashing down one fateful day when Orlin Devereaux, a trusted liaison to the port authorities of Palathos, betrayed the crew during a dangerous smuggling operation. The crew was unaware they were smuggling in something called arcanite, a highly volatile arcane material, strictly regulated and forbidden except under the most restricted circumstances. This tainted them greatly. The Lex Arcana, which is basically the magic police in the Shattered Worlds, officially dissolved their business charter, and the city of Palathos confiscated the Storm Queen and banished the crew forever from the glory of the city streets. They have been managing limping for years, well, for a year, working at the fringes, leveraging favors and goodwill to get a ship and do some work, but always the glittering jewel of Palathos shines just out of reach. Just recently, as their spirits dropped to the lowest ebb possible, a mysterious message has arrived claiming that the sender can grant access to the crew, grant access to Palathos, to the crew of the Storm Queen. With nothing else to grab onto, the last string of hope being dangled before them, they sail to the city where the message came from and prepare to visit this mysterious benefactor. So that's our story thus far. We shall see how things unfold. But before we go any further, we should probably introduce our players for today's game. And I'm going to start, of course, we're all on Zoom and I'm seeing things and we can't help but look and go. So I'm going to, Charlotte, if you would start by introducing yourself and also your character for this evening, for today's gameplay.
Thank you. I would be thrilled. So my name is Charlotte Ashley. I am a writer of fantasy short stories and more recently role-playing material with various things that I think are under NDA, so never mind, but watch my Twitter stream. But today I will be playing the Riftwalker character in this game. Her name is Jacobine Lalouvier. You can call her Jackie or Jax. She grew up in one of the central shards, but has always felt the call of the music out in beyond the void, and is happiest when she's out there.
Excellent. Awesome. Karim, you're next, my friend. Introduce yourself and your character.
Hello, everyone. My name's Karine Cronfley. I'm a voice actor and all kinds of other things, appearing in far too many voice audio dramas to mention. Currently appearing in the BBC Doctor Who Redacted show. I think my last voice appearance was this week's episode that dropped this morning. But yes, my character is, let me get my name right again, Dallin Kale. He's a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? A hedonistic, anarchistic thief, really. Gets himself into all kinds of difficulties, this, that, and the other. Can get his way in and out of all kinds of challenges, but he seems to get himself into more trouble than he ever gets out of. So he's permanently running from the law, his friends, his enemies, often which is both at the same time. So that's me.
You found family here among the crew of the Storm Queen that somehow tolerate your mayhem, even as you are in debt to all of them for hundreds of stacks of cash. Next on the cycle, Jaym, if you would be so kind as to introduce yourself and your character.
So I'm Jaym Gates. I am primarily in the gaming space as a freelancer these days. I recently wrote a significant portion of the RPG Legacy of Mana for Lynn Vander Studios. I've also been doing a little bit of work here and there for Battletech and Shadowrun, for Paizo. I was the editorial director for Green Ronin Publishing for a while, and the Nasaba line, and then just editing, writing, and consulting on other projects here and there. I am primarily a tech writer by day and have far too many hobbies, and I keep trying to find new ones. So that's why I was on at 2 a.m. last night looking at how to make your own perfume. So that is my probably going to bleed over into my character a little bit too, of like, oh, this looks interesting. Why don't I find out more about it? Oh, I have a new hobby now. My character is Antari Grecian. I am the captain of this ship. I don't know how, but somehow I ended up with a younger sibling and a hedonist who really gets into a lot of trouble. And I'm trying to get us all out of trouble with this whole mess we've gotten ourselves into. So I'm a little stressed, a little cranky. I don't like the rules to begin with, so trying to be the responsible one is definitely wearing on my peace of mind a little bit. And I'm probably going to make terrible choices because I did not ask to be the adult in this party.
Oh, and nor should you be. under no circumstances. Awesome. And finally, Michael, introduce yourself and your character, sir.
Hey everybody, I introduced myself earlier. I am playing Clay Parnas, who is the mage, a outcast mage driven to prove their worth, who got themselves into quite a bit of trouble back in their academy days through some light hubris, and which resulted in some not so light explosions, and found themselves tossed about the waves of fate, and is the mage for the ship, and I would guess possibly also the cook, given their love of good food and the search for an ever-expanding palate.
Excellent. Very good. Yes, exactly. Which brings us to an important aspect of the Fate Core system. Two elements, actually. Aspects and stunts. Aspects are personality quirks that are usually two-edged swords. They usually indicate some sort of fixation or unhealthy phobia or fear that disrupts your mental stability at some point in time or another. Having those fears also means you're usually very good at something. So an aspect can be tapped to get an advantage, but it's also something that I can tap as a plot device. So if, for example, to use Michael's character, Clay, Clay has a fixation on good food, and if is forced to consume mediocre or bland fare, will actually suffer dice penalties until he can cleanse his palate. Cleanse their palate. Now, with that in mind, Michael could spend a fate point, and everybody starts off with 3, to avoid the tapping of that aspect. But it costs a fate point, at which point you can ignore it, you find the will, and you carry on. However, if you do succumb to the aspect's demands, you gain a fate point. So by playing your character and embracing the foibles thereof, you actually gain in the currency the fate point, which allows you to change dice rolls. You can spend a fate point to add +2 to any roll that you make. You can spend a fate point to re-roll a dice roll. If you're not happy with that, you can spend a fate point to re-roll. So that is definitely, it's good to have fate points around. So yielding to your character's foibles is always a good thing. The other aspect of gameplay is stunts. Now, we haven't worked up stunts for these characters. Normally, every new character in Fate Core, fate points are not different from refreshes. The refresh that's referenced on your character sheet, Charlotte, is referencing at the beginning of play. The next time we get together, you refresh to that level. So if you've spent all of your fate points at the end of this session, next session, you have 3 again, or whatever your refresh rate is. So during the course of play, you may amass 4 or even 5 fate points. But ultimately, you can't keep them. So you might as well spend them and be awesome doing so. Stunts, every character in Fate Core starts off with at least 3 stunts. And these are things that are unique about you, powers, abilities, allow you to break the rules. Michael will talk about magic in just a moment. But Karim, I'm talking about Dallin Kale, the thief. We can have him be an escape artist. And one of his stunts can be in any craft or physique check or athletics check that involves escaping bonds or breaking out of jail, he is at a +2 for those rolls. That would be a stunt that is now permanently a part of that character's repertoire. None of these characters have stunts. Actually, I guess, Michael, yours has one, and somebody else I gave a stunt to. Charlotte, I gave, the Riftwalker. What was your stunt? I forget.
Navigation rolls as an extra and using empathy to...
Right. Yes, and those are the extras. And then also below that, was there a stunt as well?
Oh, no. Never mind.
Okay. So I thought somebody had an extra stunt in there.
It may have been one of the characters who is yours.
Good point. You're right. Yes, the NPCs. Yes, that I will be playing, which I will introduce you to shortly. So in the context of this game, moving forward, since all of you guys should have 3 stunts, if we run into a situation during gameplay where, oh my God, I wish I had this ability, and we can argue that it makes perfect sense that your character should have that ability, we can go ahead and list that as a stunt on your character sheet in that moment, and then continue play forward with that stunt as a part of your character's repertoire. Does that make sense? Yes? Good. Excellent. Michael, let's talk about magic in Fate Core and in the Shattered Worlds. In Fate Core, magic is it takes on many different shapes and sizes. In some ways, it's using magic, using basically your Arcanum stat, which is a homebrew stat. It represents magical ability in the place of something else. For example, if you're trying to pick a lock, normally that would be a craft roll. But you can use an Arcanum roll, and basically what you're saying is I'm using magic to unlock this lock. So you can substitute Arcanum for other stats to base rolls upon, and that implies your magic is being used. You can also create magical effects, which usually create either situational, environmental elements that need to be resisted or overcome. Occasionally, you might actually do an attack with magic, but very rarely that's pure arcane force. And we'll talk more about that as we get into the game and play with magic a little bit. There are certain levels of the number of successes you need to have a magic spell effect work. And we'll talk more about this, but briefly, if the spell involves learning something, getting information, perceiving things, you only need 1 success to make that spell work. If you're trying to change something, if you're trying to make stone pliable like mud, or increase the light in a room, that's changing. That requires 2 successes. If you're trying to destroy something, you're trying to just obliterate stone or create a hole in a wall, that's destroying, and that requires 3 successes. And then if you're trying to create something from whole cloth, make something appear out of nowhere, like a ball of fire, for example, that requires 4 successes. So learn, change, destroy, create, 1, 2, 3, 4. Area of effect, range, other factors will also add to the number of successes that are required. Now, that's the essence of how I play magic in Fate Core. In the Shattered Worlds, there are 9 spheres of magic that crafters like yourself, mages like yourself, examine. 1 or 2 spheres is usually the most anyone ever undertakes, but some can explore more. They are prime, the stuff of magic, time, space, energy, matter, life, spirit, mind, and entropy. Those of you who play Mage the Ascension may recognize those spheres as a direct correlation between them, and I've always been enamored of that system. So yes, I ported that over into my homebrew. Michael, your character, being a part of the Promethean Technorate and a shining example of that organization, have both matter and energy spheres at your disposal, meaning you can alter reality involving matter and energy. So you can deduce the composition of a piece of stone or a liquid, detecting poisons if that's what you want to do. Those would be learning things. How much does this weigh? How much square footage does it take up? Where is the secret door in the room? Your matter senses can project out. Energy is kinetic, which of course is also light and heat, gravity, electricity, electromagnetism. All of these things are also spheres that you can control. So in terms of the magic that you can affect, those 2 spheres are your building blocks to work with. If you can describe a magical effect that involves 1 or both of those magical spheres, we can make it happen. Cool? All right, excellent. I need a break, or a sip rather, hold on. Excellent, let's get into it. All right, so crew of the Snow Queen, you find yourselves unloading a shipment on Valvira. Now, Valvira is this backwater core shard. It's basically an agricultural shard. The entire reality shard is either farming or ranching that feeds the massive needs of Palathos, a city that has millions of inhabitants and very little land other than the city itself. The entire shard is practically the city. So the needs of food for that population is constantly being fed by shards like Valvira. So you guys have been, these are one of the shards that you've been cultivating, limping along financially with, bringing cargo. You just brought in sort of like a black market cattle cargo. You unloaded 20 head of prize steers that were liberated from somebody else's herd that you have now delivered to an individual discreetly and clandestinely, got your money, and you're looking for work when suddenly a messenger arrives bearing the livery of the Nightingale Courier Service, a widely known and respected courier service, comes up to the ship and requests permission to come aboard. Captain, permission to come aboard. I have a message for the crew of the, and looks at the name of the ship, Albatross? And that is the name, unfortunately, of the ship that you've been able to catch together. Captain, may I come aboard?
Yes, you may. Please don't mind the ship name. We're working on something better. We'll get there eventually. We promise we probably won't throw you overboard. It's a sacrifice.
He's halfway up the gangplank and it stops. And you're joking, and keeps walking, stops, right?
The captain gives a big, friendly smile and says, yes, that is absolutely a joke.
Yeah, blood sacrifice doesn't work on this shard, I thought.
No. You have to fall so far that it's just not worth it.
Messenger's head is suddenly on a swivel, reaches into his pocket very quickly. Are you Captain Grisham?
I am.
Very good. This is for you. No tip necessary. Everything's been paid for. Have a lovely day. I'm out of here. And he books feet down the gangplank with all due haste and alacrity.
My captain treats messengers essentially as the telemarketer who just won't stop calling your phone. She doesn't like the phone calls or, the analog version thereof, and tries to get rid of them as quickly as possible.
Very good. Mission accomplished. Well done.
So I read the message. Is there anything special I have to do to open it, or?
No.
Okay.
This is an uncontested event. You break the seal. The seal, however, interestingly enough, bears a mark, a crest of the old, one of the mercantile organizations you worked with in Palathos. Go with that. The Golden Cuff, the Golden Cuff Trade Costal, small but effective group, and yeah, that is the crest on the seal. You break it inside. A very scant message basically reads: if you want to get back into Palathos, join me at my estate in. Hold on. I had it. It was right here. It's gone. There it is. In Rydell, which is a small, a large town on the other side of the bay, where you're at right now. Okay. Signed, and what's the word? An invested admirer.
This isn't a trap at all, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all.
You'd sidle up and read over your shoulder.
I call the rest
owe
of
them
the crew
money,
in,
did we?
I'm perfectly comfortable dealing with this kind of strange invite. I deal with them all the time. Strangely, when people need me to pay them back. Hey ho, not a problem. I'm sure we can deal with it somehow. Is there anything rattling around in my memory that these chaps I particularly owe them, or is it just the usual large amount of money and possible high value?
Interestingly enough, these guys, you don't think you owe them money. You may owe them a favor or two, but you can't recall a specific dollar amount just yet.
Well,
Were they on the list of creditors?
Captain is watching you very closely to see how you react to this.
darling, I don't have a list. I have a library. It's fine.
Well, worst comes to worst, we hand you over first and run.
There you go.
And it could be a free dinner.
Ilana Waybridge, who is your face, basically. When you need to engage with individuals, you put Ilana out there. She is a Janai, which is an aquatic-based ancestral life form. Very empathic, very, in this case, flamboyant with a flair for the dramatic, loves poetry and theater, has done written poetry and performed theater across the many shards, as she will tell you over and over again, all the shows that she has been in. But she looks over your shoulder as well and says, you know, Rydell used to be the capital city of Valvira. But centuries ago it was destroyed, and now it's just now starting to be repopulated and become economically viable again. I heard about it. There's a legend of the fall of Rydell, and I can't help myself when I love good stories like that. So I heard that. So yeah. So just so you know, it's the old capital.
But gentrifying.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Definitely. I mean, it's old money, right? Old money. So it's all going to be, I'm excited. I think it's going to be marvelous.
I mean, I absolutely think we need to go. How many years has it been? How many months has it been since we've had a good meal with good company? And if they try to kill us, I mean,
wasn't made by Clay.
unlikely.
I mean, Clay has been keeping us working miracles and wonders with gruel and wheat and ground squirrels. So, you know, that's awesome.
I mean, ship food is ship food. And it's not like this is the Storm Queen.
And if Rydell is coming back up or trying to ascend again, that means a lot of people who need things done. Indeed.
Absolutely. And the engineer, the ship's engineer, comes up and says, "I need fixing." Olgar is an Urgon, a Kazadir Urgon, short, squat, powerful. He's only like 5'6", but he weighs 375 pounds. So the boards creak as he walks across them. But he's the one that keeps the lift core down in the hold of your ship from not working anymore, which is good. You literally, so sky timber is a way that ships can float and fly through space. And it's expensive, but it's invaluable, especially if you're going from shard to shard. It makes, you can literally dock anywhere if you can float. The Albatross's lift core isn't as good as any other, never mind the Storm Queen. You can go up. You can't go forward, left, or right. You have to come up with your own way of motivating for that, but it will lift. It just won't go. So,
How do we deal with that? Do we have rigging? Do we have sails?
yes, you have sails, absolutely. Sails are very common, and in this particular case, yes, sails are the way you can roll, and you can even navigate the void with sails. And the Albatross is rigged with void crystals. Which is the way that Riftwalkers can bring an entire ship into the void and carry it through along their journeys. So yes, the Storm Queen has full X, Y, and Z axis maneuvering. It was like flying a fighter jet with that darn thing. And now you've been limping and hobbling along with this crippled Albatross. But Olgar keeps it moving, and through the wonder of his abilities, somehow keeps the lift core functioning if needed. So he's only too happy to if this will get us closer to getting rid of this. He pats the railing. Fine vessel. Then I'm for it. We should go, like now.
Do we have any further crew aside from the 6 of us?
You do.
Do we have, say, a crew of small boys who would like to pull ropes around and what have you?
The small boys, older men, you can't pay a lot, so it's not exactly the cream of the sailor crop, but there are young men who are here for the exposure, and also older men who can't get work anymore on regular ships, so they'll work for you. So yeah, you've got 5 or 6 crew that handle the rigging, the loading and the unloading, so on and so forth. Yes.
All right.
And they look expectantly at you, Captain Grisham, to give the word.
All right, let's go for it. If anyone should just magically happen to remember that they owe a lot of money or have otherwise pissed this group off at some point, please feel free to let me know before we get there, preferably.
Bonus.
Shall I say I don't owe it yet? Does that count?
I would also like to come out of this without more debts. I feel like we have plenty. We have explored the variety of ways that we can owe other people things that we don't have.
We don't need to explore that any further. No. We've exhausted that field of research. Very good.
Let's find some new hobbies.
Alana says, I couldn't agree more. Let's be about it. So you set sail, crossing the bay from Lorca, the bustling city where all the grain and the meat and the thises and the foodstuffs are all coming and shipping out to Palathos. You make your way across, and very quickly the seas become much calmer, much less traffic, and you make your way to Rydell, which takes you maybe half a day, 6 hours, 7 hours tops, to make your way across the bay. It's not that far. And you make your way into Rydell, and you can see as you approach this, it's not a ruined city. It is being rebuilt, but you can see gouge marks in the side of the stone jetties. You can see there's still to this day scorch marks on stone, that slag bits where stone has melted and then frozen, right alongside freshly mortared and plastered and painted walls for the new Port Authority docks and so on and so forth. So they're very much in the process of reclaiming this ancient city, trying to restore it to its former glory, but the scars of its legacy, of its past, are still very much there for all to see. As you pull into port, it is not exactly a bustling port, but there are a few local skiffs, some fishing vessels, and some local merchants who are plying the craft. You do notice one other ship that stands out quite dramatically from the usual naval fare, and that is a ship of the Lex Arcana. Now, the Lex Arcana are the mage police. Basically, their job, because things can go wrong. Oh, I forgot to mention this, Michael, about magic. If you screw up a spell by more than 2 failures, reality takes great offense at your botching of said spell and will go out of its way to try and eliminate the opportunity for you to ever do it again. It's called a dissonance backlash. And it usually just afflicts the mage. You might be blinded for a day or 2 or suffer racking pains. It depends on the magic you're trying to invoke. However, if you botch it terrifically and the spell you were trying to do is a powerful, magnificent spell, that fallout, that dissonance backlash can create a rift in reality, and cities have been consumed by mages botching spells. So the Lex Arcana is sort of the self-appointed watchdogs of mages being stupid, and go out of their way to make sure that any magical workings are being done responsibly and safely. And if you screw up, they will come down on you and do something to ensure that you don't screw up again.
I can't see why they would have any problem with us or feel any need to look at us whatsoever at any point.
Exactly.
Anymore. Not since last time.
Definitely not in advance of next time.
I have a question about our ship.
Yes.
Is it obviously a a void-going ship, or can it pass as a regular naval vessel along with the rest of the boats?
It passes as a regular naval vessel. In fact, your guesstimation is that it was built as a regular naval vessel, but has since been modified for void travel.
And would we recognize another void-going ship if we saw one?
Not necessarily. There is no special. If it has void crystals mounted on the prow and stern of the ship is a dead giveaway that that ship is designed to go into the void because a Riftwalker is going to be working on it. Those are really the only telltale signs. Anything can go into the void. And if a Riftwalker is strong enough, they can ride a horse into the void or sail a ship into the void. And then when you go from one shard to another, as you approach, you as the Riftwalker, okay, I'm on a ship. I need a water access. So you find the edges of the shard. Oh, there's a water access, and away you go. And so you sail on through. So does that answer your question?
It does. So are there any obvious void crystals mounted on this Lex Arcana ship?
Yes, there are. There are very clearly 4 void crystals, prow, aft, and the starboard and port gunnels. So it is
perfectly capable of making chase. Good
yes,
to know.
Yes, if you're going to be running away from them, the void is not going to save you. It depends on how good their Riftwalker is.
Just noting the exits.
Yes.
This is just good standard procedure.
Well, and if it comes to that, you as the Riftwalker are basically the pilot. So once you get into the void anyway, so it'll be a contest between you and them as to can you give them the slip in the vast emptiness of space.
Excellent.
So. Very good. Yes, and it's not like, oh my God, the Lex Arcana is here for us. The Lex Arcana are everywhere. Hopefully, they're not here for you. And everybody goes, "Have we done anything wrong?" It's like, no, we haven't blown anything up recently. We should be okay. Hopefully.
We don't have criminal records, do we, from our time as unwilling Arcanite smugglers?
See, that sticks. Arcanite smuggler, you haven't worn that one down.
It's only been a year, right?
Exactly. People remember that
stuff. I haven't had my plastic surgery yet. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what else? You tried to smuggle Arcanite into the city? Oh my God, you're insane! And that's all anybody can hear and see and know anymore. So.
All right. Well, which way to the free dinner?
There you go. You dock gracefully. The crew mizens the main mast and shutters the anchor and all of that thing. You pay your dock fees and make your way, and you realize that you are a bit early. Well, actually, no, you're not early. There was no particular time given, but there was an address given. Questions, discrete queries as to where one might find said address lead you to a lovely what do you call it? A city square, sort of one of the. It's a circular area with several houses, several roads that lead into it, a crossroads, as it were. And on the far side of this crossroads is the place that you're seeking. It is old. It is clearly of the old city. It's not one of the remade buildings, which are also on this colonnade, in this circular square. In this open area, this colonnade. It is vintage, old school stuff. And I need Dallin and Jax to make me notice rolls, if you would be so kind.
Ooh, my first roll. Okay, so that'll be 4 dice +1 because I have +1 in notice. Is that how that goes?
That's exactly correct.
Or is the +1 an automatic success?
It's +1 to your roll. So if you roll -2, then it'll be -1.
Okay. Great. Okay, well, I rolled -2 and have -1.
Sorry.
So you rolled a total of -2?
Yes, I rolled a 1, a 3, and a 4. So I gather the 3 4s are blanks, the 1 and 1 are 2 minuses, but
correct.
Reduced to only 1 minus because of how good I am at noticing, but maybe not today.
Exactly. Precisely.
You haven't had your coffee yet today.
I have
Clearly.
not had my coffee. Can we please get to the guy with the coffee?
You're too giddy at this prospect of going over here. Absolutely. Dallin, how about you for your notice roll?
So was that +1 to the dice or +1?
What is your notice +1?
My notice is. Where is my notice? Notice is +2.
Okay, so you'll roll 4 dice.
Yep.
5 or a 6 is a +1.
Yep.
1 or a 2 is a -1.
Yeah.
Tally all of those up, and then add 2 to it because your notice is +2.
Right. So 2 +1s, 2 -1s, +2, and another +1. You said, yeah.
No,
So just
No.
+2 then.
just the +2 for your stat.
Yeah.
So the total is
Sorry, I haven't quite got this good.
okay. So of the 4 dice that you rolled,
Yeah.
any 5s or 6s?
Yes, a 5 and a 6.
A 5 and a 6. So that's +2. Any
Yeah.
1s or 2s?
Yes, 2 2s.
2 2s. So 0 0. So they cancel each other out. So your dice roll is 0.
Right.
But you have notice of +2, correct?
Yes.
So you add 2 to that, so you're at +2.
Right.
So you have rolled 2 successes into this, and the opposition is doing okay. So, Alan, as you make your way in, cautious fellow that you are, you notice a bit of movement catches out of the corner of your eye,
Mhm.
and you notice down one of the side alleys, one of the smaller streets off of this central area. Somebody has gone to great pains to keep a horse out of sight,
Right.
and you recognize there's a brief moment when the horse shifts, and you see the saddle as it steps into the light before it is brought back into the shade, and you recognize a seal that is of the city of Dolam Spire, which is where the Salanumbra are based.
Okay.
And you'll recall that the Salanumbra put a price on your head
Oh dear.
because you didn't fulfill your objective
Yes.
the last time around. So
Yes. We may have a slight problem, ladies and gentlemen. I spotted a Salanumbran horse just down there. Don't look. They might notice we noticed. I think that's on guard, and I may have to disappear sometime soon just to make sure I deal with them appropriately. But for the moment, keep eyes peeled and feet fleet.
I can't hear you, Charlotte, but you're not muted.
Ah, the mute's on the button. Yep. Nope.
Still can't hear you.
Nope.
Oh no!
It's all gone horribly.
There you are.
Okay.
What was that?
That was my headset.
Technical challenges. Got you.
No, so, well, Dalen, is this trouble for you or trouble for us?
I think it's us, as I seem to recall, Dave.
No, just you.
Just me. Oh, okay. So it's just me. I may have to disappear briefly to deal with this problem. It's just me. I just need to explain a small technical detail of why there's an issue with the last job I had with them. It was perfectly valid. I'm sure I did everything I needed to. I just
As you say that, you hear a squeal from Ilana, and she literally darts from the party and runs toward a crowd on the other side of the square, away from the alley with the Salanumbra horse and the potential death. On the other side, a crowd has gathered, and you can see Ilana is jockeying through the crowd, trying to find a way to see what's happening on the other side.
I hate it when I have to do this kind of thing. I'll chivvy along slightly more subtly and try and make sure I keep an eye on her.
Very good. Jax, Clay, Captain, how are you?
Keep your head down, Dalen. Just act normal. She's gone.
It's fine. Look, this
What's
is
for
my home
inside?
territory. I look. They won't notice me in about 5, 4, 3, 2, merge into the crowd.
Astonishing.
The
So is
captain
that
just sighs very heavily and is just like, I knew it.
He's ditching us again.
Well, it may not be especially wise to go into an unknown potential benefactor's premises without our dedicated socialite.
Especially not if they're going to call the cops before we get here. I mean, that's just not sociable behavior. Oh, what a shame.
All the introverts in the party are suddenly much happier.
I mean, I was honestly kind of looking forward to having a nice dinner party, just like a nice normal party like the old days. Not all the running out the back door and, you know.
And as you're lamenting your lot in life, you hear the very distinctive sounds of a lute strum, a progression of chords, and a very clear golden voice lifted high, and the crowd suddenly is hushed. And you can see Alana at the edge of the crowd really clutch at her breast and stand transfixed at the sound coming from the other side of the crowd, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I meander over that way also.
Okay.
Follow the music every time.
Karim, do you want to make blend into the crowd one of your stunts?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so that would be, we'll call it blend into the crowd, and basically you get a +4 to your stealth, or +2 to your stealth rolls if you are merging into a crowd of individuals. If there's a crowd available, you're at +2 to your stealth. And that is one of those stunts that is always on. There's another stunt that you can take that requires the spending of a fate point. That's usually something very impressive, some big thing that when it happens, it's heroic and epic, and therefore it doesn't happen that often because you don't have fate points. Anyway, so Jax and Dallin, I assume you make your way over there as well. Captain Clay, are you contemplating entertainment, or are you going to stay vigilant and keep an eye on the square?
I'm going to stay vigilant. This boat may not be much, and we may really want to get rid of it, but I would like to have something else to replace it with before we get rid of it or something happens to it.
Prudent. Very good. So Jax and Dallin, you see, you can glean from the conversation, the hushed whispers of the crowd. This is Lathar Marlin. Renowned storyteller. Oh yes, it is him. This is the George Michaels of Valvira.
Oh man, I know him well.
Oh yes, and
we would not have missed this.
He has a wonderful series of stories about Tristan Whitetower and his adventures across the many worlds. In this particular one, it's a brand new one that you've never heard before, called The Tentacles of Doom. And Tristan Nightflower is trying to get into a treasure vault, but he knows the tentacled horror is in there. So he covers himself with night bloom flowers, which the scent basically makes him invisible to the creature. But a sudden deluge of water washes the flowers off of him, and now he has to fight the creature, the tentacles, and all is lost. But then he remembers cold. Cold is the thing that shrivels this thing up, and he conjures a bit of cold magic that he gleaned from some storm giant 3 stories ago, and the tentacled horror is driven off. The treasure is acquired, and yay, everyone's happy. So it's a lovely tale.
No, the story is totally thrilling. I'm like paying no attention whatsoever. I'm listening to the music. I'm like,
yes,
exactly. Talking about the way he's got those like changes in chords midway through the chorus every time. That is just like, oh, goosebumps.
That makes good sense, especially for the nature of the Ripwalkers. Go ahead and take a fate point for that. That's well done. Nicely done.
Doink.
Captain Grisham and Clay, I assume you are also being discreet in your assessment of things. Clay.
Clay is kind of sticking by the captain, and probably not especially pleased to be somewhere where there could be upwards of, I don't know, dozens of Lex Arcana folks, because Clay has not just recent events to be worried about being held accountable for, but also things farther back. And the best time to remove an already reviled captain is when said person is completely alone. So having at least a little bit of backup seems wise.
Excellent. Very good.
I appreciate you.
Both of you then are in a position to notice the door of your target townhouse that allegedly is the address where you'll meet your benefactor. The door opens, and emerging from the townhouse, you see a Lex Arcana marshal and 2 attendants. This marshal is actually known to all of you. Her name is Kalira Geist, and she's the one that pronounced your dissolution and punishment for your aborted smuggling attempt.
I'm paying no attention.
No, you're raptured by the music.
You could arrest me and I wouldn't know.
But
Okay.
Grisham and Clay, you notice this, and Dallin, you as well.
Okay. Oh, bother.
The door closed. They close the door behind them. No, the door is closed behind them as they leave. They step down the steps off the front porch of the table, discuss amongst themselves some bit of news or business. One of the clerks makes a note on a clipboard or some sort of journal or documentation, snaps it smartly and tucks it on the inside of their jacket, and they begin making their way right towards you. They
Oh, good.
They don't see. They're not locking eyes with you, but they turn and are moving in your direction.
I was going to ask if they had glanced in her direction at all. This is so much better.
Nope, they're heading with. They don't seem to have noticed you yet. They seem, very intent on discussing whatever it is getting their attention. But they are definitely getting closer with each step. What do you do?
Have we been set up?
All right, so a couple of operative questions here. How, is with ship names, is it like with boats in our world where it's like plastered across the ship, it's super obvious what's what, and we would be very well known for being attached to this ship?
Generally,
how that works?
Generally, yes. The markings of a ship are essential for various administrative reasons, but also usually a point of pride, usually for most ships. So,
or in our case, the opposite.
Yes, exactly.
Warning.
Shame or warning. Yes, exactly. Beware, the albatross is coming, with it darkness and doom. Yes. Yeah. Well, and again, it's not like everybody in the world knows that you guys did this thing and the albatross is your ship. But, if the Lex Arcana has been keeping tabs on you, they probably.
Okay. So I just kind of grab Clay's sleeve and just we try to fade quietly toward the background and disappear.
Okay. Very good. If you would.
Can I pipe in here, Dave?
Hey, absolutely. Yes.
I'll sneak up behind you, say, follow me, and assist with your melding.
Very good. Okay, so here's how this will work. Dallin, since you are the king of stealth, you will do this. But Captain Grisham and Clay, if you would both also make stealth rolls and let me know how many successes you get, this will determine the benefit or advantage that you grant to Dallin in his final roll.
So,
All right, so I got a 5 and a 6 and a 2 and a 4. So that's
+1
success and +1.
And you, what's your stealth? Is your stealth +1?
My stealth is a +1.
Okay, so you had 1 success from the dice roll and then +1 from being stealthy, so that's a +2 total.
All right,
Michael?
so I have 0 in stealth, but
Okay.
I got perhaps my game's only +4 on the dice because I got
Jeez
6,
Louise.
6, 6, 5. So my final result is 4.
Punishing. Apparently, you've been watching Dallin do his thing, and Dallin, Clay does not need a lot of help. You've taught them well.
This is not the first time Clay has had to make a quick fade from the Lex, I think.
Clearly, in future things, we should probably up their stealth, just in terms of character continuity. Very good. So, Dallin, go ahead and make a stealth roll. You are going to be at +4. Basically, you've got 2 advantages coming in to your direction. So, +4.
So 7 +4, 11.
Holy crap! The Kalira, the Lex Arcana Marshal, literally her eyes sweep across you, and Grisham Clay, you're convinced you're busted. They look you right in the eye, and their eyes just kind of slide off, and they keep going, and they're making their way towards the docks.
It's strategically making somebody else sort of cough or make some kind of noise so the attention is dragged away at the precise moment.
Precisely, exactly. Those subtle gifts that make
Anyone could do it. Anyone.
So that being said, the show is over, Jax, and the crowd applauds. There's great applause as well. That probably contributed to the distraction.
I'm
as
like
well.
drifting / elbowing my way to the front. I am fully determined to speak to the man himself.
Olgar nudges you, Captain Grisham, and points to where, and this has happened so many times before, where Jax has wandered off. Alana is actually coming back to the party and is ready to give you a full critique of that theatrical experience, but Jax is drifting off.
I mean, he's right there.
Can someone please go collect our wandering music enthusiasts so that we can get out of here? Because I think that this is a very bad letter to follow up on.
Okay. You guys stay here. I'll go get them.
I mean, this is a crowd of what, like 20 people? How
Yeah.
often do you get to be this close to somebody who is renowned throughout the shards?
No, right?
I mean, look.
Unless he's like packing up, I'm like, hand on his shoulder, like, excuse me, Mr. I don't even remember his name. George Michael.
Marlin, Mr. Marlin.
Marlin, you're Marlin. Your ballad, it's amazing. How many strings have you got on that lute? It looks like you've got 12 or more. Who made that for you? How did you do that? And what are you doing here?
At which point, Dallin, you arrive, and at first the look on his face is this wonderful appreciation of a fan gushing, and then you see a little bit of panic come in at the corner of his eyes, and the smile becomes a rictus, and he starts backing away slowly.
I apologize for the slight over-enthusiasm of my colleague, dear boy.
I mean,
Meanwhile,
the way you were doing that was really amazing, and I haven't seen it done like it. Would you mind doing it now? I mean, you're not going anywhere, are you? I've got nowhere to go.
Jackie, allow the man a little bit of space and let him appreciate your appreciation, and let us move on to where we need to be.
The captain's back on the ship muttering about we're about to have a chance to see someone else who's very famous up close too, and we'd
Wait,
really like to not do that.
You're not going back. Did you go back to the ship?
No.
Okay, I'm like confused. I'm like looking back and forth between the door where we're supposed to be going and this guy who's backing away, and I'm like, well, where are you playing tonight? I'll be there.
He says, I'll be playing at the Seven Stabs, just off the docks. I'll see you there. And he bustles off.
That's great. That is so great, guys. That is so great. Dinner, a movie, a show.
Lana agrees. I'm
This is fantastic.
right there with you. Right there with you. Oh, wait.
Amazing.
I says, aren't we here to do something other than listen to music?
Probably.
Oh, God looks at the captain. What do you say, Captain? Do we knock on the door or what?
May I do a little bit of a scout around any windows and such so I
Please.
can have a look and see what might be in the building that might surprise us, like what came out of the building?
Very
A
good.
little?
Please do a thorough review. I do not like walking into this place right now.
Make me an investigate roll.
Okay.
Dallin.
I mean, that's 2 ambushes, probably unrelated, right? Unless whoever's in
Probably.
there was like, let's just call in everybody.
Let's just bring these people down. Let's just bring them down.
Right, so +3. +2.
Okay, very good. In this case, the structure is not actively resisting you. So this is just your basic number of successes. +2 is a standard success. Well done. You make your way around and you notice several things. First of all, the building is completely, it is air gapped. It is not connected to the buildings on either side. Even though it's a townhouse, the other buildings do not touch it. So there's a narrow alleyway that you can make your way down if need be. The other thing that you notice is behind the structure, something has been added to the back of the building, a fairly recent construction. It looks like some sort of covered stairs down. It's a wall, but you can see it's angled down into the ground. And it looks like a new addition, certainly not the same stone as the townhouse itself, but some sort of covered enclosed egress into the below ground spaces is there. There is also a back door, a servant's entrance, and also a place where cargo could be offloaded and delivered, foodstuffs, barrels of wine, so on for the household, sort of like a loading dock, a back door and a loading dock.
So it's a big household that has sufficient for a cart to deliver 2 bags.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Super. All right. And anything easily noticed at any windows of large numbers of heavily armored soldiers or that kind of thing?
You don't. You do catch a glimpse. There is someone going about that appears periodically, very, very upright. You see occasionally they'll dust something, or they'll brush the curtains and shut them, or they'll appear again later carrying some dishes. There's always the same individual. Just that one individual is all you see.
Just the staff. Okay.
Just the staff. Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's fine. So we're as good as we get to go in as we will be, I suspect. I shall come back and regale my brief tale of what I've spotted, etc., etc.
All right, Dave, I would like to also do some investigation, but through the arcane.
Do you like to do, sir?
So, does magic in this system tend to involve like material foci? Okay.
It is literally force of will rewriting reality.
Okay. So yeah, I think Clay just kind of rolls the shoulders back, takes a long breath, and then like when if you consciously open your eyes, but then it's like opening eyes on top of already having your eyes open for mage sight. Because I just want to see if there's anything like overtly or out of placely magic going on with this building.
Very good. Okay. So first of all, we'll just walk through this. This is learning. Okay, so it's only going to require a single success to be successful so far. However, you are extending your senses basically into the entire zone. In Fate Core, there's personal, there is the zone where the action is happening, and then there's adjacent zones. The fact that your magic is going to encompass the zone means we have another success that we need, so it's +2.
Okay.
Now, your magic abilities, your spheres are matter and energy. Normally, in order to detect the actual workings of magic, that would require the prime sphere. That's where magic happens. So, But because you are a mage and you are working with the mage site, you can literally sort of scrape away the matter and energy aspect of it. And so for an extra +1 successes, so 3 successes required, that spell can go off.
Okay.
Now, you can create advantage. You can use your Arcanum to basically foster the use of magic in your area. It takes an extra round. You need to make an Arcanum roll, and if you succeed, you basically can tap for free a +2 bonus to your next action.
So yeah, I think that makes sense. Do Arcanum, and the Arcanum roll then represents the kind of taking of an extra moment
Exactly.
to focus and then make the perception. So
Right.
I should make a test with Arcanum first.
Right.
Okay.
That, as I recall, is +4 for you.
It is. So on the dice, I got a 1, a 3, and 2 6s. That's a net of +1. My
Correct.
Arcanum is 4, so that's a result of 5.
Okay, so you have literally basically cleared out the area immediately surrounding you and created like a magic pocket for yourself. You can tap this multiple times for free to get a +2 to your arcane workings moving forward.
Okay. So I'm going to tap it once to
Yep.
give me a bonus. Is this still Arcanum, or is this now Investigate, because that's what I'm achieving?
No, this is Arcanum,
Okay.
because the magic will reveal. It would be Investigate, but you're using Arcanum to do it. So yes. And it is also involving matter, and you get a +1 for matter skills, matter rolls,
Okay.
as an extra for your character. So you'll be at +4 for your Arcanum, +2 for the advantage is +6, +1 is a +7,
Okay.
and you need to get at least 3 successes.
So I have the 7 base. I got 2 2s and 2 4s on the dice, which is a net of -2, but that leaves me at 5.
And that means you succeeded.
Cool.
So, which is, if you hadn't done the advantage, that would have been a tie, which would have been less optimal. But in this case, you succeeded with style. The structure, the inlay of this place is laid bare to you. And you see several things are revealed to you. First of all, there are 2 individuals in this house. That much you know. Their energy, their heat signatures, their patterns of existence. There are 2 individuals in here. You also get a very faint sense of ancient magics below the townhouse, but no other overt arcane elements. There is an unsettling bit, a niggle of magical disruption, very small, very minimal, but it doesn't fill you with joy. It's an uncomfortable, awkward sort of scritching at the inside of your brain. Again, not huge. It's like you spotted a spider on the wall. That sort of feeling of in the arcane tapestry of this townhouse. There's the ancient stuff below, and then there's one other thing in there that you can't quite put your finger on.
So vibes are a little off.
Vibes are a little off.
Is that kind of small dissonance, is that likely to be the result of some specific working, or is it more like a pocket of the dark side of the Force?
It feels, it might be like a little trinket. It might be some sort of permanent magic item, like in D&D terms, it might be a ring of invisibility. It might be some or actually no, ring of protection, something small, but there's definitely a knot in the arcane sphere that is anchored in there somewhere, and it seems to be associated with one of the life forms.
Okay, so after taking a moment, Clay speaks in a voice that it has the magical version of like a reverb effect on a little bit. I think as a bit of flavor for when Clay is like, especially like with this pocket of magical energy they've created, says in kind of a soft voice to the captain, "There's two inside. There's something very old and magical underneath, basement or something below, and a small niggle of dissonance." Some working or artifact, but it does not look like a trap.
Can I listen for it? Does anything sound off in the cosmos here?
And here's the thing with Riftwalkers. Riftwalkers in realities, it's like being in New York City
Yeah.
all the damn time.
Oh yeah.
It is noisy. It's just and it's heavy and it's there and it's reality is all over your freaking body. So no.
Good. Sounds like I'm lucky.
Yes. Captain.
Captain needs to unmute. Yeah, I'm at this point very concerned about what we might be walking into. So I'm moving very slowly and kind of trying to watch out all around us. Something doesn't feel right to me, and I want to be ready for anything that happens to pop off or explode.
Okay.
Literally or figuratively. Literally, possibly more likely given the general makeup of our team.
Given that you have declared yourself on edge and concerned if there are notice rolls, I will give you a bonus of +1 because you are convinced something is going to happen. So
it feels way too convenient. The person who has been specifically after us for a while just walked out of the place that we got a very surprise and strange, convenient invitation into.
But remember back in the Storm Queen days, it was always like this. You know, that's life on the
And
edge.
look where that got us.
Well, wouldn't you like to go back? We could
I
go.
would love to. I would love to not do it in the way that got us in this position, because while I believe in history repeating itself, I like to not be part of history.
I mean, Devereaux was like a blind spot. We should have seen him coming. We should have seen that. I think we've learned our lessons. Look at your cargo. Don't let anyone else hold your bag in the airport.
Have we though?
have we though? Really?
Well, I assumed that you guys were.
So Ilana and Olag will definitely flank the captain as they make their way across the square towards the townhouse. Anyone else? What's your disposition in this ensemble? Jax?
I'm definitely happy to go. This feels like the old days. These guys, they used to work with us. We're dodging the law a little. Whenever was it different? I think we've got this, guys.
Nice echoes of the old days. Fair point. Fair point. Dallin, what about you?
Yeah, let's all line up to them. Hey, maybe the Arcana guys, they need our help. That would be interesting.
There you go. And Clay?
Wary, probably picking up or responsible for the worried vibe of the captain and following suit.
Very good. You make your way to the front door, large iron knocker on the front of the thing. And a few moments pass, and then you hear the clatter of the mechanism of the door and the creak as it opens wide. And standing before you in a smartly dressed tailored suit is a bald man, clean shaven, looks down his nose at you and locks eyes with you, Captain Grisham, and says, "Ah, you have arrived. The master will see you presently. Will you come in?" You're muted, dear.
Yes, my muted apparently is also very high right now. My suspicion continues to grow, but I carefully lead the group in. Okay, side note. Did we bring our weapons with us? And
I
if
would assume
so,
so.
how obvious are everyone's weapons? Yes, I'm aware that that is
Depends which round of weapons we're talking about. I have
Let me
at least
see.
4 rounds.
Are any of them visible, Dallin?
There's 1 or 2 more visible than others.
I'm
What about
gonna,
you, Jax?
I'm gonna say no. I mean, I brought my dinner knife, so I've got something for stabbing if need be. But you know,
Nothing
no.
if not
Places
focused on the
are
goal,
here
eh,
for.
Jackie? Nothing if not
So-
focused on the goal.
my sins lie in the fleeing end of things, not in the confronting end of things. If there's a
There you go.
confrontation, I'll cheer y'all on.
Oh,
Is this like a gunpowder era
yes,
technology?
it's Victorian era, so guns, pistols, rifles, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Clay has a fairly simple like revolver at their belt, but is otherwise unarmed because sometimes the magic doesn't work and you still need to hit somebody.
Exactly. Ilana, you know Ilana has 2 daggers, but they are secreted upon her person somewhere. And Olag is walking around with a big multi-barreled blunderbuss strapped to his back. The haft is sticking up over here in easy reach, but it is sheathed. He's not carrying it around like he's going to use it.
Okay. So I am basically trying to keep an open field of like if people need to draw their weapons and respond to a situation, even though I don't think it'll be that overtly aggressive. I also have a couple of things worked into my clothes that are responsive weapons that may not appear to be such. So I'm just aware of where those are, but you know, trying to be relatively well mannered and not a total feral
Savage barbarian.
creature. But I'm definitely like kind of gently shouldering our socialite forward with a "you handle this. I don't talk to people."
Ilana takes that step forward absolutely and adopts that role. Her bearing, her carriage changes. You see her lip. That's right. That's the other character with the stunt. She literally becomes the captain. A transformation comes over her, and she is actually doing you very nicely. She does a great you. So you're making your way through. You're taken deep into the townhouse and shown a sitting room, richly appointed sitting room. There is a sideboard of canapes and hors d'oeuvres, a samovar, steaming coffee awaits. Please avail yourself of any refreshment that you may require. I'll let the master know that you're here. He'll be down shortly. Doesn't take long. Say what? Go ahead.
Nothing. Definitely getting a coffee.
I'll take a deep sniff of the coffee before anybody touches it.
You have to
Seems
take
safe.
it.
Doesn't if it is poisoned, it's poisoned with iocane. So
Okay. I can only do the basics in a limited amount of time. I can see
Exactly.
how desperate Jackie's for some kind of refreshment.
You would rather not have your arm chewed off.
Exactly.
And I will say, Clay, this is quality stuffs. This is definitely gourmand level canapes and such. Now, you do notice one thing that's a little unsettling. As you settle in, there's comfy chairs, lanterns, well lit, well appointed. There's a painting on the back wall of this thing, and boy, that looks familiar. Where do you know that from? Oh, right. We smuggled that 5 years ago and gave it to Orlin to distribute.
Backstabber.
Yeah,
Devereaux.
Orlin Devereaux.
Well, shouldn't he know he sold us out? Oh well.
And as you say, as that thought trickles through your head, you hear a voice behind you saying, "Yes, I always enjoyed that one as well." And you turn and you see Orlin Devereaux
I knew it.
standing in the doorway. smiling. Lovely to see you all again. It's been too long. And at that point, we'll take a break. New commercial.
Dave. Very nice. So
Perfect.
we'll go on to our break card, and a reminder that a break for us is a break for you. So I would encourage anyone watching to stretch, grab a beverage, use the restroom, whatever it is that will make you comfortable for the rest of our Bag of Giving adventure. We'll be back in just a few. Hello everyone, we are back. I'm just gonna switch around the videos real quick to make everything work. And here we are. As a reminder, we are fundraising for Max Ottawa and TENT, some lovely charities that are doing good work for queer people in Canada and in the US. So if you are in a position to give, then you can do that through the website at Bag of Giving. And if you do so, please let us know so that we can enter you into the giveaways, where this month we are giving away a critique of a piece of fiction. And that is very cool. So this critique will be from either Phoebe Barton or Primi Mohammed. And then I think I have, I'm fine to round out the giveaway pool with some other assorted things if we get enough donations that I feel like sweetening the pot. So the more people donate, the more likely there are to be more prizes. I will incentivize this way.
Will they be geekomancy related, do you think?
You mean this?
That?
Yeah, I think...
This whole thing?
Oh! Well, hello there. I didn't see it. So there is that. Thank you very much to everyone who is watching live and to everyone who is watching on the VODs. And now I will throw it back to Dave to bring us back into that which has been lost.
Which has been lost. The party has been brought to the townhouse of a mysterious benefactor, led into a sitting room, only to discover that their host is the one who betrayed them a year ago and brought them to their current state. Orlan Devereaux stands before you, framed in the double doorway into the sitting room, admiring the same painting you're looking at that you smuggled for him, easily 2.5, 3 years ago, back when you were on top of the game and sailing around in the Storm Queen. It's lovely to see you all again after so long.
I
take 3 quick steps towards him and slap him across the face.
The captain is just starting to open her mouth to say, "Why don't I just shoot you?" when this much more expedient and very fitting action happens. So she just does like a slow, theatrical clap.
Dallin, Clay, any follow up to that?
I'll just raise an interested eyebrow.
Okay.
If he managed to recover, I say, "How dare you? You!"
Wait, what's Clay doing?
I'll defer.
Okay. You come up, Jackson, you slap him, and his head snaps around and he raises a hand up to his cheek. I suppose I deserved that.
You think?
Yes, you did. So don't do it again.
I am in no position to do anything of the sort. Your circumstances are certainly unpleasant, but compared to mine, I think you'll understand neither of us have fared all that particularly well after that fateful day. And in doing so, he turns around and presents him the back of his head, and you see some sort of creature, an insectoid or reptilian creature, has grappled itself and sunk its barbs into the base of his skull, and runs down his line. And Clay, that twinge of unnatural magics, this is what it was.
So is this like a house arrest thing or like a tracker thing?
This, he tells you, is a manaclore or a chain worm. It is employed by the Lex Arcana to anchor their undesirables to a certain shard. Basically, if it leaves the reality shard we are in, even under the custodianship of a Riftwalker, it dies, which means I die.
Okay,
Yeah, back away from him like really fast. Did I touch it? I didn't touch it, right?
What was that, Grisham?
I mean, I see absolutely no problem with this whatsoever and would be happy to facilitate you leaving this shard to see what happens.
I do not doubt it at all, Grishaman. I certainly am deserving of some of that ire. I will not try and defend myself in that regard, but both of us were deceived that day. And as you can see, I have fallen under similar circumstances. After you were jettisoned from Palathos, I was imprisoned and was only able to negotiate my house arrest here on this backwater burg. But
See,
They're betraying us if it was just going to blow up in your face.
there's a major difference here in that you made the choice to betray us and we got betrayed. So I'm really sorry, but I just completely failed to feel bad about how this happened to you.
I'm not looking for sympathy. I have a solution that can help us both.
Like last time?
I deserved that too. But
I think we can keep an open mind on these things. It's give the man a chance.
Hear me out. If nothing else, it will make for a good story. And afterwards, you can unleash your Riftwalker upon me to slap and bludgeon me to her heart's content.
I'm not touching you ever again.
They make tools for that. We can give you some range.
I've got some range right here, says Olga. All right, look. Both of us want to get off of this rock and get back to Palathos. Now, you are all familiar with the Tower of All Worlds, yes? And yes, this is a tower that existed hundreds of years ago. The reason Palathos is as awesome as it is today is because... Sorry, give you a sec. Math. Nearly a millennia ago, there was a tower that connected multiple shards. Every core shard of the many worlds was linked by this tower. There was no need for Riftwalkers. They could just simply move through the portals of the Tower of All Worlds and go to Obrath, go to Taishan, go to any of these dozens of shards by traveling through the Tower of All Worlds.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it was awesome until a sorcerer launched an invasion of Palathos through all of those portals, bringing an army of staggering proportions and horrific visage, descending upon Palathos, creating a night of horrors that is still sung by the bards and storytellers of the taverns of Palathos. And that day, the Tower of All Worlds was shattered. The bridges that connected the many shards of realities gone and lost. And afterwards, every one of the keys, the portals were managed by keys, portal keys, gate keys that would sustain the connection. Every one of the keys was hunted down and destroyed to ensure that never again will anyone ever be able to use that way to attack Palathos from within. Orlin says, I know where one of the gate keys is. I also know where there's a portal in the basement of this dilapidated dust ball. So, if you can get me the key, I can open us a gate to Palathos. Sorry, Jax, no Riftwalkers required.
Leaves the void to us.
What do you say? The problem where you come in is the gate key is not on this shard.
Mm-hmm.
It was thought lost at sea during a shipwreck. It was being transported by a vessel bound for Iona, one of the other shards in the area, and was lost at sea, shipwrecked, mangled carcass of a ship, blah, blah, blah. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a tattered journal. It says, the journal of the first mate of that fateful ship tells a different story. Pirates took the ship seized the cargo and pressed the crew into service, wrecking the ship upon the rocks. It was Mortis Rex, the pirate. You don't know him. But regardless, shortly after this acquisition, after the cargo was stashed in a place documented very well by the first mate, Mortis Rex was slain, his crew obliterated, the ship destroyed. So, and the knowledge of where Rex stored his treasure lost until now. There's even a lovely map that can guide you directly to where he stores his swag. So what I propose is that you and your fine ship and sterling crew go make your way to Iona. Use this map to find the island. To collect the gate key and keep whatever treasure you find there. And then let us all get back to our lives on Palathos. What do you say?
Oh, this is all nicely packaged up in a bow, isn't it?
What are the terms of our banishment? What exactly was done to keep us off, and how would it be enforced if we were found there?
Okay. In order to access Palathos, you must go through God, it's my world. I should know the terms that I'm working with. But there's a portal tower, a void tower, that basically forces all rift walkers to enter in this direction.
Okay.
And come out at the same spot. So you can't come in from anywhere. You have to come in here. Because the city is so vast, there's a massive port authority in the threshold realm between the void and Palathos that you would have to navigate to get through. Not impossible, but very, very difficult. You've probably tried at least once and were turned away before they caught you. But if they catch you in the sea, well, that's the thing. Finding you in a city of like 3 million people, highly unlikely, highly circumspect.
Let's go to the particular goth club and they will all be there. But
if they did find you, it's not like you have trackers on you. It's not like anybody is monitoring your location. You could get back in and navigate discreetly, possibly even affect a break of the Storm Queen and flee into the night if you wanted to do that.
But if we wanted to leave, would we also need to go back out through the one portal?
Yes.
One well-guarded door.
Or this portal that Orland claims is working just fine once we get the gate key.
How big's the portal, Orland? Will it take a ship?
It won't take a ship, but it'll take a large cart.
You travel the world in a cart, guys.
I can't give
like so much better than the albatross. We're really moving up in the world.
Yes, but the albatross is here on this backwater agricultural shard. Palathos beckons.
I have to admit that there is a certain obligation I am feeling to get the Storm Queen back. Getting it off the rock is another story, but
the Storm Queen, you say? Well, you might be interested to know. And he pulls out a pamphlet that you recognize as the way news is disseminated in Palathos, and tosses it onto the table. And you see the Storm Queen is slated for auction at the end of the month.
What? I snatch it out of his hands and read through in great detail. Auction where? Is it open?
The Port Authority, completely open, owned by the notorious Storm Queen crew. It's a celebrated ship. They're playing it up for everything that it's worth.
What's the start price?
It's like starting price is like 100,000 dinar, which is just the currency of the realm. So $100,000 is the starting bid.
Oh boy. So it's a heist, me girls.
You have to get to Palathos first, dear.
We do. Get to Palathos. I don't know about you guys, but it does seem worthwhile at least to see the Storm Queen again. Maybe she can help us get out.
I'm sure we can get it sorted. Sounds like our kind of thing, really. We
You
just need to
told
pretend
me.
to be some kind of wealthy dilettante who has a penchant for famous ships. Shouldn't be too hard.
I wonder who would play that role.
Orlin, Ilana flutters herself. I have no idea. No idea at all. Orlin clears his throat. You're getting ahead of yourselves. We have no way to get to Palathos until we get a gate key.
Well,
You
just
keep
told us
using
there's a
we.
way.
I've got the map. You've got the ship. It's a partnership. What do you say?
I would assume that us coming back with the gate key would involve having to work with you to get through the gate. Are you going to camp this place out? Who's helping you here? We saw the Arcana police.
Oh, yes. They were just making sure this was still healthy.
So are you living here?
I'm stuck here. This is my place. Took me forever to find it, even longer to find the journal. About a year, actually, of money flushed down the cistern, as it were. But eventually it paid off. And when I heard you all were back in the Shard, well, it seemed like fortuitous timing all the way around.
Devereaux, I need you to flex. Tell me why we shouldn't just take your map, get the gate key, throw you out on your ass, and make our way to Palathia.
It's a good question, Jax. How about for old time's sake?
Yeah. Yeah.
One last time.
For old time's sake.
One last run. And then we never have to see each other again. Honor among thieves and all that.
Let's just make it clear that we do not trust you in the least, and you will have absolutely no privileges, and you will be under very heavy watch anytime you are engaging with us.
Not leaving the house. And
there will also be some contracts specifying, should anything happen, that you were the one driving this, and that it is your fault and you take the blame.
All right. I accept that. In fact, I can draft up a confession even as we speak, and you all can witness it, and Stephen too, my manservant, can witness it, and you may carry it with you. You can hold it over my head for eternity. How about that?
Wiggly buddy.
I think it's relatively safe to say this chap needs assistance. And, well,
we've delivered our cows. What have we got to do next?
Why not? I mean, otherwise we're just going to get bored here for at least 36
Cargo hold
hours
still smells like cow shit, by the way.
Yeah,
before I manage to work out at least 17 different angles I can pull on this city. But why not?
Did we talk about this earlier? We were leaving this rock really soon, right?
Look, I have to run an angle here or there, otherwise I can never pay off all the people I owe. You should know that more than most, Jax.
Yes, but somehow you keep owing more. It's a really impressive sort of math that I admit I don't understand, but that I am very, very much like I find fascinating.
Well, there's
this
theory.
mathematician back in Palathos called Douglas who described it to me one day. It's called beastramatics. It's terribly complicated, but excellent. It's in its breadth and depth when it comes to working out the way of splitting money in 17 different ways. It ends up being less for everyone. It's fascinating.
What were you saying, Clay?
There's, of course, my theory that that Dallin is secretly a mage and just very bad and constantly suffering backlash and bad luck.
This is a workable theory.
In a way, gambling is pretty much, reality shaping magic. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So give us the map and we'll see you later.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Very good.
Fine.
He delivers the map. I'll draft my confession. So before you turn over the key, you can examine it, and I'll make sure it's good and juicy so that enough details that'll hang me and get me thrown in jail for all eternity.
One small question. I did notice some Salnambra nearby on our way here.
Really?
Were you aware of their presence in town?
I was not. Although they have their fingers everywhere, but this doesn't seem like their ballywick.
Well,
Agriculture is not their jam. They prefer the pit fights.
Yeah, maybe they figured out where I was going. I don't know.
Hmm.
They and I have a slight little contretemps at the moment. But, we do what we can. I'm sure we can sort something out.
Okay. Well, then I will wish you the very best of luck. Here is, and he reaches into a chest and pulls out like 10,000 dinar and puts it on the table. That's for your expenses to get you wherever you need to go, stock your ship, bribe who you need to bribe, or what have you. Insurance for a successful voyage.
Well,
Well, at least we're well lubricated then. Excellent. If this goes well, who knows? It could be the beginning or an end of a beautiful friendship.
Quite so. Quite so.
Well, it's been surprising seeing you. We'll see you again.
I sincerely hope so, and on much better terms. Stephen sees you out. You're on your way. You make your way back to the Albatross, but on the way there, wait, what?
As soon as we are like free of this guy, I just quickly want to like recap here. What is stopping us literally from fetching the key, coming back here, giving him a big hug, carrying him into the void, and leaving him there? Nothing. Did anyone see a guard? Has he got like he can't really be expecting us to just hand it over in good faith. I mean,
there's also the question of whether we retrieve the key and then report him to the authorities, deliver the key, unpack his attempt to contravene the law of the many worlds, and see how much that gets us back in society's good graces.
But would that really be fun?
And were we ever in society's good graces?
All we need for fun is for the authorities to let us be there when they cart Orlin off to a terrible dungeon instead of a slightly dusty townhouse.
I see where you're coming from, and I think that is a wonderful idea, but I have to put on the table that I don't trust cops. So I'm not inclined to invite them into our vengeance.
It's more like using one terrible force against another terrible force, but I take your point. First, we will need the key.
If I didn't have a ship, how would I enter the void from here, say?
Walk in any direction until you get to the mist, and then keep walking.
In a good headlock, and I'm walking into the mist with him.
He's coming with you.
He's just coming with me.
And then you can leave him there.
Do I like fold through reality and just get there? Or is it literally like 7,000 miles away at the edge of the farming fields?
That's a tough call. The physics doesn't work right in the void. Things that should be if A to B and B to C, you should be able to gauge A to C. And it doesn't. It never works out that way.
I mean, getting from land to void.
Oh, yeah, that's just walking.
From where I'm standing right now, could I be in the void by the time I'm in the square? Or do I need to?
No, you need to get to the edge of reality. You need to get to the fringe of the shard where the mist is.
Okay.
Enter the mist, and then you go into the void.
Okay. Oh, that's further away. But fair.
Oh, you could try.
You can hog tie a guy a lot of different ways. Yeah, I'm not putting this plan out at all.
And I'm not saying you can't go to the void right where you are right now. I'm just not sure what the role would be and what the consequences would be if you didn't.
Jackie, what you've learned during your nocturnal exercises is not entirely our purview at this point in time. However, shall we go?
Agreed. You make your way through the streets. There's an encounter with the Salanumbra. Karim Dallin gets a fate point because this is part of his badness. Negotiations, threats, bodily harm, body parts lost, promises made. Captain, you flex and get them to back off long enough, and you get a fate point for giving into your "this is my family" aspect. And they saw a number are staved off for yet another bit of time, but not for long. They want the stuff. You make your way back to the Albatross. You let me narrate for just a little bit here. You make your way into the void, and this is not your first time in the void, but you set sail. You set sail for the silvery mists at the edge of the bay, and you make your way along. As you approach the mists, Jax, you reach out with and embrace the void crystals that define this sphere of ship and all in it as one entity that you can easily carry with you through the void as you go. The rest of you see the mist approach, and everyone in the Shattered Worlds habitually, no matter how many times they do this, you are about to leave reality. You are about to go into the nothing. There is a clench of the guts and a shortness of the breath as the mists start washing over you, and details and distance collapses and enfolds. Your ability to see even down the length of the ship becomes more and more occluded as the mist rolls deeper and deeper in, and then suddenly the mist clears and you're in this void space. There's no ground, there's no up, there's no down. Distant indigo clouds roiling around, little motes of light sparking and singing out with these little tones that ring like crystal. For everyone other than Jax, this is every context, every sensory context that you have come accustomed to is gone. And it feels like you are falling, even though you aren't. There is a sense of vertigo and being literally unhinged for a moment, and the ship becomes your anchor point. Jax, finally, some peace and quiet.
I have my rooms are in the bottom of the ship, in the belly of the ship.
Okay.
And I have my lovely little sensory deprivation room where I can just lie down on the ground and just listen to the ringing of the heavens. And my cat, Gauntlet, who is 20 pounds and extremely large, will sit on top of me, usually, to feel safe. And that makes me feel safe. And I just feel the heaviness and listen to the gonging of the shards all around.
The music of the spheres, absolutely.
I try to focus on the one that we're going to, and I'm very happy to hear the like ding 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 of where Velveeta recede behind.
Is that the tone of Velveeta? It's the banjo? Okay, lovely. Yes, that's perfect. Perfect. That is now canon in the Shattered Worlds. Any Rift Walker that comes to Valvira is going to hear ding 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 ding. Excellent.
The sound of this island or this island shard is it's not like my jam, but it is soothing and peaceful in a way that
especially that it's fading away.
Now that Velveeta's fading in the background, the place was not fun.
You isolate the tone for Iona, the shard where you're heading towards, and it's just like a leaning in. It's like making that sound, that tone, that music, pushing aside all of the others and letting that tone fill you. And this is what it's like when you go through the void. You just move that resonance of the thing into yourself, and you're just drawn to it. It's almost like magnetism. The void journey is not without its perils. There are abominations, creatures that feed on reality and nibble at the edges of reality. They love voidcraft, and many a voidcraft has been lost to the depredations of abominations. You manage to avoid them handily and make your way eventually. After several days of journey, mostly everyone stays below decks. Being out in the openness of the void is unsettling. Clay, you probably don't mind it quite so much. Your arcane senses don't make it quite as unsettling. But for everyone else, certainly Olgar and Ilana are below decks, nowhere near it.
I think
Eventually you reach Iona, and at this point, Jax, I'm going to need you to make me a navigation roll, and this is going to be, I will let you decide. This is either going to be navigation, or I'm sorry, academics or investigation will be the roll that you make for this.
Am I doing two separate ones?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope. The navigation roll is going to be based on either academics or investigation. You decide.
And you've given me as an extra that navigation rolls are at +2. So is
Exactly.
this in addition?
Yes, in addition.
All right. I'm going to take investigate then because I've got another 2 in that.
Okay, very good.
Throwing my dice everywhere. Well, that's 2 fails. +2 brings me up to 0. +2 brings me up to 2 successes.
Which is a success.
Okay.
Basically, what you're doing is, as you reach that event horizon of the edge of the void, where the reality begins, its own misty bits, you start filtering through there, basically running a query through the reality's matrix to find an island with this configuration according to the map and yada yada, even though it's almost 1,000 years ago.
So I can come in it and into the shard at multiple different spaces and angles then?
You can come in, yes, absolutely. This has no gate tower, so this shard is completely open, and you can enter from anywhere. You make your way around, and you can't get right on the island. The edge of the reality is too far away, but you can figure out a direct line, and you pick your entry point. Just one note as regarding the journey through the void. One comfort that everyone finds as they make their way through this trackless void, this unnatural place, are the smells that come from the galley as Clay indulges their culinary preferences. Sweet, savory, grilled, baked. It's astonishing what somebody with matter and energy spheres can conjure from the barest essentials in the galley. The journey is made less arduous thanks to Clay's delicious contributions to the crew. That said, you crest once again, entering the shard of Iona. It is a tropical shard. The seas around you, very much like the Aegean or the Mediterranean, rich gold, radiant azure blue. Seabirds wheel in the night, and everyone feels like reality has reasserted themselves. Down is down, up is up, and all is right with the world. Moving through the shard, moving through the ocean, Jax navigating towards the island destination, you realize that while the pirate Mortis Rex may have perished over a millennia ago, apparently this is pirate heaven. And as you navigate through, you see your journey to get to the island where Mortis's treasure and hopefully the gate key is marred by the presence of numerous marauding ships looking for a tasty morsel to work with. So, Captain, I'm going to need you to make me a series of pilot checks. Now, this is basically a contest. I'm going to be rolling for the pirates. You're going to be rolling for your team. Whoever gets 3 successes first, whoever wins 3 times first, rather, is going to determine either A, you got away, or B, oh no, the pirates found you. Okay?
What am I rolling? Is this just a straight competition, or is there a specific thing that I can use for this?
You'll be using your piloting, your driving pilot skill.
That's right.
Now, you also, like I say, none of you have defined your stunts yet. We could define a stunt that fastest ship in the land or fastest pilot. I can do the Kessel run in 12 parsecs and have that give you another +2 when you're racing your ship.
Or I have a reputation for being extremely grumpy and no one wants to deal with me in a fight because I fight dirty.
That's a fair point. We can work with that too. Yes, bad reputation, we'll call that one. And that will come into play if they get caught. That won't help you in this initial navigation of trying to avoid being spotted by the pirates. So.
All right, well, I got 2 successes and 2 failures. Okay.
And I got 1 success, so that's 1 to you. In the first couple hours, you managed to elude 2 marauders by dodging behind islands and cloud banks. Next roll.
Yeah, that one's way less successful. 2 nulls and 2 failures.
So that's a -2. And they got a 1, so that's 1 for them.
I do have a +3 drive pilot.
Oh, okay. You need to tell me what your total is. So -2 +3, so +1. So you have tied. That counts for a plus for each of you.
Okay. Same exact results, like literally the same number.
They got 2, so they won that one. So it's not 2-2. Whoever wins the next one determines the outcome.
Well, I'm consistent today. I got 2 successes and 2 failures again on this roll with my, and then adding my +3. So
I got a whole lot of nothing and a -1. So you managed to eke out. You find the island. Basically, Jax continues to tell you, no, go left. We gotta go this way. Navigating you in the proper direction. You dodging between shoals and putting the sun in their eyes. Any tricks you can to nudge this ship to better speeds and more agility. You pulled it out. It was a narrow thing, but as you approach the cove where Mortis stored his gear, his treasure, you duck around just in time as the vessel you were avoiding sort of sails off into the horizon, apparently none the wiser of your existence. And now stretched before you is this tropical lush lagoon, great sweeping trees dangling, these lovely vines that reach down into the water, these lovely purple, bluish indigo blooms up and down the vines. And you can see beyond the vines, there's a cave, some sort of darkness beyond that can be navigated via ship. It looks to be deep enough, or at least it was 1,000 years ago, to accommodate a small vessel the size of the Albatross.
And if the tide comes in, will the water go up and we'll get crushed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
It says that so cheerfully.
We're used to it, guys. I think.
Well, we're definitely used to problems.
Indeed.
We might want to keep our meal ticket out of the cave and potential crushings.
You have outboats. You can lower outboats and row in.
Yeah, that might be what to do.
Okay.
I like this
Lovely.
idea.
Done. You make your way in, brushing aside the dangling vines with their deep indigo. The sweet scent of the blooms is intoxicating. Not narcotic, just this is a lovely place. It smells very nice. You part aside this curtain of these vines, and sure enough, there is a cave that allows access in. You strike a lantern or two and hang it from the gunnels of the buoy, the dinghy that you're sailing in, and you see very shortly after you get inside, there's a shallow beach and a sandy rise in the train leading back into darkness. you beach the ship and proceed forward.
Shall we light up some lanterns?
You've got lanterns lit, absolutely.
Yes, let's proceed forward with caution. I'm still not convinced that this isn't a trap of some sort.
What do you guys want me to take? I think we've got like a harpoon gun and I guess a couple more of those revolvers you guys have.
So I have a question. Is there anything specific that Jackie could be doing that none of the rest of us can do going into the caves? Because I also feel like we need to have someone with the ship, and someone who can actually move the ship into the void might be the best person to have stay with the ship.
Very fair. I feel that my best skills are not in caves.
That is a fair point. The having the Riftwalker in mortal danger is the problem. Yep.
Okay.
So oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It sounds by all accounts, it sounds like some sort of broken enchantment that when it's melded into its seated place, that a completion will occur. So it's gonna sound like constantly dun 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 dun, dun and nothing. That edge. Exactly. So yeah, you'll be able to find that, definitely. Yeah, because every zone outside of your current zone is going to be a +1 requirement for success. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what is going to be done with the Riftwalker? You stay with the boat?
That would be my preference. But I also would prefer to let them make their own decisions. So
Olgar says, I will stay with her as well. We need to keep Riftwalker alive.
yes.
Fine.
Is there a way that we can kind of tuck the ship out of obvious sight? So kind of camouflage it a little bit from someone who might be passing by.
In the Albatross?
Yeah.
It'll take a little doing, but you could probably pull it into some of those draping vines, and other than that, it's a ship. It's tough to.
I mean, yes.
There is no convenient cove or jetty that you can move the ship behind. But these towering trees with their falling vines of indigo blooms, that you could probably move the ship into that to give you a bonus for them to not notice.
I would like to do that before we leave.
Done. Absolutely. The ship is as camouflaged as possible. If a notice roll is to be called for, I will have you contest it before we decide how they proceed.
Just as you finish draping the last of the vines on it, I find the right record to listen to and get it spun up, lie down on the floor, and just crank it as loud as I can.
Oh, that should help with the stealth.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. You did not bring a Victrola with you on the ship.
What? How do I sleep?
I don't know. You don't. You're a Riftwalker. You're just
noisy
you're a
here.
little off.
All right.
Anyway, you and Olgar will hang back while the rest of the party advances forward cautiously. You don't advance far. You go maybe 30 or 40 feet back into the cave. It narrows substantially, and then opens out into a chamber easily 30 feet in diameter, roughly. It's a rough chamber. But your lanterns the chamber is filled with sand, but your lanterns glint off of so many things in the sand. It looks like the tides have shifted over the thousands of years, and high tide, as Jax supposed, does make it all the way back into this place. So the tidal waters have shifted in back and forth over time, burying what was once here. But you can see very clearly the glint of golden idols, of jewel-crusted crowns, the wink of pearls and rubies and other treasures barely contained beneath the silt and sand of this treasure vault.
I'll take a casual look at a few items. They may happen to fall somewhere potentially useful.
Yeah, definitely. There's just in the little bit that you can see, there's easily probably 150 to 200,000 dinar of treasure just in sight, just visible right now.
That means almost enough to pay you guys off.
Indeed. Captain, Dallin, Clay, make me a notice check, please.
Oh no. Oh, those dice have now failed me. Yeah, so I did not do very well. I'm looking. So I have a +1 notice. I got 2 failures, 1 success, and 1 wash, and then a +1 for my notice.
So total of 0.
+2 notice.
Okay. And
0.
Clay? Big 0. All right. Very good. Grisham and Clay. Clay, you are probably contemplating getting ready to cast out your senses to try and find the object of your quest. Captain, you're looking down the back passageway, confident that some Indiana Jones ball is going to come rolling down, some nightmarish hell is going to descend upon you. Meanwhile, Dallin, you have picked up an absolutely beautiful silvered plate with sapphire points at the cardinal points around. It's absolutely beautiful, and you're looking quite well in the reflection of the plate itself. And then you realize you're looking down, you're seeing your reflection, something's moving behind you.
Duck and roll to be at a position ready to be behind them to make them not
Very good.
The target rather than the assailant.
Grisham and Clay, you hear a startled movement, a shift of sand, and you see Dallin do one of his signature leap, duck, and roll because something bad is happening. And a split second after he does so, you see this black inky tentacle come down from the obscured shadowed roof of the vault and impale itself into the ground, exploding into multiple tentacles all around it, and grabbing at gold and statues and sand, tossing it all aside, and then rising back up again into the shadowy recesses of the vaulted ceiling.
Back in the ship, I'm like humming that Cool Bard's tune, that new groove that I was paying no attention to whatsoever. That was a good song.
Do I reckon this is going to take blades or explosives? or heavy metal propelled by explosives?
Yes, all of the above.
I was going to say yes is probably the thing at this point. Of course, all of you now have your attention above, and even though the ceiling is shadowed, you can see movement up there, and it's almost like the whole roof is undulating and moving about. And so we'll use the notice rolls that you use to determine order. So we are now in turn order. So I will start with you, Master Kale. What are you doing?
So if I've seen this go into the ceiling, Would I have some kind of flashbang or something that will give me, if I can throw it into the ceiling, provide a load of light so we can see what's up there, possibly affecting said creature to potentially blind it or anything else.
So we're working with Victorian level tech at this point. So I could see a crude flare of some kind. Yeah, absolutely. I can see you having that on an expedition of this nature. Sure.
Yeah, one of my ways of getting out of a crowd. So I'll see if I can deftly, with a move, retrieve from my hip pouch, light it on the way up, and fling it into the ceiling.
Okay, very good. You do so. Do me a shoot roll to see how effective your targeting is of said thing.
My shoot roll is 0, sadly.
Okay. So you lit the thing, and you toss it up into the ceiling. And clearly you didn't see the ceiling and what was up there at all. You just saw these vague shadowy forms. You see that as the thing flares up above, there are multiple stalactites in the ceiling, but in and around, like oozing around between the stalactites, there's some sort of serpentine, black tentacled thing that hisses at the light. It bounces off one of the stalactites and then clatters to the ground, impotent, before it went off. But you did catch a glimpse of what was up there.
What kind of size are we talking about? Large animal or small city?
Let's go with large animal. It definitely took up easily half of this 40-foot across, 40-foot diameter cave area.
Okay.
Now,
I think
I'm going to need you to roll me an athletics check, either athletics or fight, a defensive roll, because another tentacle is coming down for you, standing in the middle of the treasure vault where its feeding area is. So you get to decide. With athletics, you dodge and leap out of the way. With fight, you deflect it with a blade or a forearm. You tell me how you want to defend against this inbound threat.
I'm going to dodge athletics. So
all right, very good. Roll it, baby.
+1.
Okay, total?
+1.
Total is +1. All right, it too got a +1. So you leap out of the way, and you hear the impact of this meaty, thick, black midnight tentacle impact into the ground, and you're sprinting for the doorway where the captain and Clay both stand, and then you hear a as the thing erupts into those little mini tentacles, and one of them grabs you by the ankle and trips you as you just about reach for the captain. You take no damage, but you don't quite get there to where you need to go.
Bother!
Bollocks! Captain Grisham, what are you doing?
My general weapon, I have just like a revolver. I also carry a fairly sizable sword most of the time. So I'm going to go with that because it feels like trying to shoot into the tentacles is not necessarily going to be super helpful for me. So I draw the sword and move toward a nearby tentacle.
Okay. The only visible tentacle within reach is the one that's crawling up Kale's leg.
Okay. Is it actually like on the ground at all?
It is. The tentacle, it impacted down and then exploded into these little mini tentacles.
Okay.
So the tentacle is still grounded in the sand and treasure, but one of these little mini tentacles have lashed themselves around and are pulling him back to the main tentacle.
Okay, I am going to try and take a swing at the main tentacle.
Okay, very good. That is a fight roll.
Apparently, I should have been using these dice all along. I got 4 successes, plus I have a +2 in fight.
Holy crap.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
3 6s and a 5.
and I rolled a -2. So that is succeeding with style. So not only do you sever and free Kale from the tentacle horror that is trying to consume him, you also plunge it deep into the tentacle itself, and it literally leaps back up with a howling hiss and retracts itself back up into the ceiling. Well
Thank you,
done.
Captain. I prefer to have dinner and a show before being
Bold.
as intimate with a thing as that.
Clay, what are you doing?
So we've established that Clay uses their magic for cooking, and one of the things that Clay would make for the crew on special occasions is creme brulee. And so now Clay is going to pop open one side of the lantern and use magic to basically draw out, expand, and like flamethrower the lantern fire up to the ceiling.
Nice.
That's a thing.
Very good. So that is change. So that's 2 successes. You're working within your zone, so that's 1 additional success. So you'll need a total of 3 successes to effectively creme brulee the calamari up on the roof.
Okay, so kind of extending and channeling fire, is that just energy, or would that include matter?
That is just energy.
Okay.
That is literally just relocating kinetic energy. You probably draw some of the heat from around the area. Kale and the captain will notice a significant cooling in the cave as you focus and reorient the kinetic energy of heat against the tentacled horror.
Okay, that works for me. So I will now roll. Oof. So I got 1 positive and 3 negatives. My Arcanum is 4. So that goes from, that's 4 to 5, and then 5 to 2. But I want to invoke Outcast Mage Driven to prove their worth. If I invoke my high concept, does that also then require spending a fate point?
It does require a fate point, yes.
So yeah, I'm gonna take one of my fate points and take my result from. Actually, I'm gonna reroll my dice because -2 is like on the bell curve. It's likely
it's
that
extremely down.
every roll is going to be better.
Indeed.
It goes from -2 to 0 because I got 2 2s, a 5, and a 6. So instead, that is just a 4.
Which is all you need to succeed. So, you go ahead and describe to me what this looks like.
Yeah, so like I said, Clay probably has a specific lantern to be able to do things like this, because Clay is much better when they can do magic that they've already done before. So this kicks open. Clay reaches a leather gloved hand, very close, and then pulls and extends the magic out, almost like it's kind of like a neon after image wand in the dark. So like the fire kind of flickers and flows, and then the flame grows, and there is a gust of surging fire up as they basically try to scour the ceiling for this beast.
Nice. Projecting the heat from the lantern and the air around you, you hear the creature hisses and howls, a high-pitched keening sound, and retracts itself from where the fire is being focused. But you hear the sizzle and pop of its leathery, oiled flesh as the fire burns it. You move it around, and the creature, again, is burned, but it dances and dodges and does this dance amongst the stalactites as you continue to harass and drive it to distraction.
Are we going to stay, or do we need to go? Clay asks to the captain.
I think we need to. My vote would be to run forward and see if we can get away from this. I don't want to turn back, but I also would prefer not to fight. all of that.
Very good. Jax, you're hanging out with Olgar. Olgar's got his gun at the ready, ready for trouble, making sure you're as safe as you can be in the hands of me.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually, you got the lovely scent of the flowers still wafting in, the lap of the water, and it's really just lovely. And then you hear, ah! What? Get up! Come down the hall.
Sounds like I'm being kept safe.
Just an average Saturday night where I am.
I feel real safe.
Look, we don't kink shame.
I'm sorry, our engineer friend.
Olgar.
How are they feeling about that?
They move between the cave opening and you. So they are blocking this, whatever's going to come screaming out of that thing. They're blocking the way to access to you.
Okay. Can you see what it is? What is it?
It's dark is what it is. I can't even see the captain. Oh, sounds like Clay's doing something nasty to whatever
Not being
he's
quiet anymore. Guys, are you okay?
And you all hear
It's got more teeth than the Osmond family.
Well, shit. Okay, so I guess I try to find something that seems to me like it would be an effective weapon against something that might come for me. Maybe a cudgel?
Sure.
A good shillelagh?
An oar.
An oar. That also, because it keeps it far away. I like
exactly. It's like a pole arm and a club at the same time. It's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, why don't we just approach quietly? Maybe
Olgar takes point. Stay behind me, and starts making his way down. Okay, next round. We've kind of disengaged in combat. Clay is holding the creature at bay, doing incidental searing damage, but the creature is getting very good at dodging behind stalactites to avoid the worst of the damage. But it seems preoccupied at the moment. So we're out of melee order. What do you do?
Using the light produced by Clay's effulgence.
Effulgence, nice.
I want to see if there is a critical point of the mass, i.e., some kind of head or something that I can look to target.
It doesn't seem to. I mean, at one point it's like, oh, that's its head. Oh no, wait, that's it.
Okay.
Oh crap. I mean, there is at any point once it stops moving, there seems to be a head, but then it goes away when it moves and re-manifests elsewhere.
So it's not so much some kind of octopus-like thing. It's more sort of a mass which sprouts tentacles and oozes out of it. Yeah.
Yes, quite.
Okay.
Actually, it sounds kind of familiar now that you think about it. It sounds kind of familiar.
I'm humming a song to myself. Something killed it with ice. And then I forget the part, but killed it with ice.
Right. I don't have any ice on me. Look, I haven't got my martini. I need my martini. There's not enough ice.
So, Clay, apparently, Kale wants ice. He's wanting to make a martini or something.
Okay, Clay, I need lots of ice. Lots and lots of ice. Can you help me? Look, if I can't fight with style, what's the point?
Okay, can we
Yes,
just
please.
stay alive and then worry about the style here? I'm just asking. I know that this is a really big thing to ask you, but I'm just saying, I feel like there are higher priorities right now. Like all of the tentacles right up there.
And Jax, you come in just as you hear the captain say, all those tentacles up there.
Look up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, like in this song. The one with the kill it with ice part in the end. You know the one?
And the
Yes. Pardon me for my flowery turn of phrase. What
Are
can I
you able to freeze my paddle? It's like a little.
Okay. Right. Well, and you've already rolled to get this effect going, so I'm gonna rule that you don't need to re-roll the whole spell, but you do need to make a successful Arcana check with at least one success in order to reverse the polarity of the arcane might that you're leveraging. Flip the switch. Exactly.
What about a heat blow? Yeah.
With style. Not only are you able to reverse it, but you're able to draw upon, leach the heat out of the rocks as well. You decide instead to suck the heat out of the rocks, out of the creature, out of the air around the creature. All of you feel this wave of like an oven roll across you briefly, and then this frosty chill as your breath starts to mist in the air before you, and the creature gives a very different kind of scree as the cold consumes it, and after a moment or two, silence descends upon the room, and then you hear this cracking crack, and this long black inky tentacle falls and shatters on the sand and treasure below, and the creature is dispatched.
Good job.
Well done.
I'm cold.
Well done.
So to wrap up, we'll just narrate to the end because we're at the end of our time. Clay is able to identify the key, the gate key that allegedly will open the portal into Palathos. You also estimate, Clay, with your ability to push Earth around, you can unearth a lot of this treasure. There's probably 3.2 million Benar in this treasure alone.
Just about.
How much of it can we get on the boat?
Yeah, our time pressure is not that immediate, right? So
No, there's no time ticking clock. You are in pirate infested waters. There is that to contend with, but there's no ticking clock. You can take your time and ferry this stuff out as much as you want. You will fill the albatross's hold with treasure.
Good news. We don't have to worry about money to buy, our boat back.
So that takes care of the auction part. We just need to get there.
and
Sure, it'll
then
be fine.
decide what
Yeah,
we...
no, I mean, maybe our engineer could like wait behind. He's really heavy. Replace him with like a lot of money.
Hey! No fat shaming! Hey! My bones are dense, all right? I'm an ergon.
I'm saying.
The captain chucks the Victrola thingy overboard. Whatever the
The music device, whatever that was.
yeah.
So that just leaves the question of what do we do with Orlin?
My ideas do not seem to be the most useful for what we do with Orlin. So
He absolutely is going to betray us the minute we get there. There's no reason, none whatsoever, that he would expect us to just give him this gate key.
especially if we have this much money on us.
Getting all of this through to Palathos would not be very easy, would it?
It would require several checks. I mean, it would be a logistical challenge to get the treasure back to Palathos. You don't have to go to Palathos to sell the treasure. You're actually on Iona, which has a very awesome museum. that would probably pay top dollar for some of this quality relics and artifacts that you've got in here. Or a bank, exactly. You can go to Obrath. The Tronero Bank is based out of there. They would gladly pay big bucks for liquid assets like this. So you don't need to bring the treasure to Palathos. You're going to need to bring mad stacks of cash. I mean, 3.2 to 4 million dinar is still a pallet of cash. Now it could be translated into precious stones or, arcanite. That's expensive.
I think we've done enough with arcanite.
Arcanite.
Fair enough.
But whatever's lightest.
Gems sounds like a great idea.
Paper money. I hear that's a thing.
It is. Dinar is scrip. The Tronero Bank on Obrath has actually instituted this currency that is utilized throughout much of the core shards. So it's Binar, and it's paper money. That's not to say that coin is not still used, and gems and trade bars and every shard can have its own currency, but there is a universal currency that works between shards, which is the Binar.
We get them to write like a really big number on it.
Exactly. Big check.
Right. So let's load up the boat, go to the bank, load up the boat, go to the bank, load up the boat, go to the bank.
Okay.
And then go bring Orlin a surprise.
So sell the treasure into cash money that is portable and return to Valvira. Correct?
I propose that we make a stop along the way to stash most of the money somewhere that it can't actually be liberated by Orlin should he betray us again.
Is there such a thing as the as an intershard bank that we can just have some kind of
Tronero banking has shards, has institutions on many of the core shards. They are the financial axis around which the economy of the core shards works. So I mean, you can.
Okay, I vote we do that.
Okay. Open an account with Tronero Banking. They know who you are. They don't care. They're happy to take your money. And hope that you don't buy Arcanite anytime soon. But have a lovely day. Thank you so much.
We promise.
Probably.
So you make your way back to Rydell and Orlin's dusty, dark, grim townhouse with the gate key.
Which we can't just walk into, right?
Walk into where?
His house.
Well, you have to knock.
Clearly, we're not walking right in there.
You can kick the door down if you want. Kale can pick the lock and get in if you want. I mean, you decide how you want to engage with the man.
Yeah, I think we knock on the door again, being very aware of potential threats.
Stevens answers and is delighted to see you all again and escorts you back into the sitting room, where you wait scant moments, seconds even, and a somewhat out of breath Orlin joins you in the sitting room and says, "Did you find it? Success?"
Yes, but it's not here.
You want to see the confession? Here. He hands over his full confession, exonerating you completely of all wrongdoings and taking the entire burden of the whole tawdry affair squarely upon himself. Signed this day, blah, 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 Orlin Devereaux.
I think we should also see the gate.
All right. Right this way. And he takes you down a set of stairs to an area that was added onto this estate. Apparently it wasn't originally there, but this set of stairs descending down into a complex that extends far beyond the townhouse itself. But eventually you come into a large stone chamber, and you see a thing very much like what I've got going around behind me here. It's like the Stargate, only it's flat stone. And in front of it, there's a small dais or pedestal that has an impression in it that matches identically to the piece of stone that you found that you know to be the gate key.
Well, so when are you going through, Orlin? What's your plan?
I thought we'd go through together.
I'm going to suggest that one person keeps a hand on Orlin physically, preferably someone fairly strong, and everyone else stand a little bit back with their weapons ready, because I still, for some strange reason, don't trust that this isn't a trap.
As you wish.
Does anyone else really have fight? Because that's probably... Athletics would be another good one.
Fight, athletics, or even physique.
I definitely have athletics.
And Ulgar's got physique, so.
Do we want to have Olgar do it? The like manhandling of the traitor?
All he has to
Oh,
do is
please.
fight.
Oh, please let me. I would love that.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Thank you.
That sounds
Thank
like
you,
good terms
Captain.
for me.
This is why I work for you. He grabs him and literally just kind of leans against the wall with him between him and the wall, and Orlin goes, he's not going anywhere.
Don't damage the merchandise too much.
Just
I'm sorry,
mildly
what?
squished.
Anyway.
He's just compressed for easier storage.
Here you go, exactly. It's folded.
All right. So yeah, I think we should have Orlin do the key with someone holding on to him to make sure that if he just like jumps or something, there's someone attached to him.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, let's see if this works.
Very good.
We should make sure we have everything we need with us as well.
Yes.
Okay, let me narrate how this ending goes. You lock the key into the pedestal, and a surge of arcane energy crackles across the stone face inside of the circular dais, and the initial glow is this whitish blue, but as the tendrils of energy connect and the portal starts to manifest itself, the tendrils suddenly start turning pinkish and then red and then blood red and then black. And the portal opens and you can see it's like there's a corridor of maybe 100 feet, and you can see on the other side Palathos. You can smell the scent of Palathos, very distinctive, not always very pleasant, but very distinctive. You feel the air from Palathos come across. And then a scaly tentacled clawed hand reaches from the gate and grabs Orlin and yanks it in to the portal area, and you hear his screams as he has shredded to bits by this demonic form. And you see the tunnel itself starts to manifest in the form of some sort of horrific, nightmarish army that is actually emerging from the sides of the tunnel itself. And the party is presented with the choice of sprinting through, which you can do and survive, but leaving the portal open because there's no gate key on the other side, and thus inviting the dark horde into Palathos, or lifting off the gate key and closing the gate altogether.
So I have a suggestion. If we invite the Dark Army into Palathos, it will be very distracting while we liberate our ship and get out of there.
I'm not prepared to burn down Palathos. I like it there. I would like to go there. As much as I like the boat.
I've got more than enough mayhem resting on my soul as is.
Fine.
It says, ew, no!
It is now. Perhaps we could return here better equipped to fight a demon army.
Bigger flamethrower. Bigger flamethrower.
Bigger flamethrower.
There you go.
And this is in the tunnels. We don't necessarily have to let them into Palladium.
Palathos.
And
so the party
many...
decides, in spite of the captain's best guess, to close the gate and return, deal with Palathos another way, another how. But this is too high a price to pay to regain your stuff. And yes, money can buy a lot of good lawyers. you're filthy freaking rich now. So with objectives thwarted but conscience clear, souls lifted, hope for the first time was kindled in the hearts of the crew of the Storm Queen. We roll credits and hope that part 2 sees our heroes once again reunited with their trusty ship.
We're going home, probably. Yay!
And the cool thing about Fate Core is that there are no XPs to allocate. There are no levels to go through. Your individual aspects, those are the story arcs for each of your characters. And what you do is through play, you neutralize those aspects. You deal with those fears, you deal with those issues. And then through play, you eliminate those and then take on others because inevitably you do. So it's not leveling up and getting better and better. It's growing and telling your story and building your character, which I really like.
That's awesome.
So I may not owe everyone money for the next day or 2, but I'm sure something will happen again.
Yes, we're gonna need to fix that trouble or that relationship. That's gonna be a different relationship for Kale.
I bet the pirate shard has got like a lot of gambling opportunities.
Big time. So thank you guys. I really appreciate the chance to play Fate Core because I'm still learning the game system, but I do love it so dearly. And anytime I get to show off the Shattered World to an appreciative set of gamers is always good for me. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
For a great story.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for sharing your world and your time. We should go around the table and everyone get the chance to say where folks on the internet can find you and the things that you do. And then I will remind everyone of our donation stuff, and then we can call it a day.
Lovely. I'll start. I'm Dave Robison, voice actor and creative dilettante and serial entrepreneur. You can find my vocal stylings at www.butterymanvoice.com. That's where my demos are, my links to all of the stories that I've narrated on the lines and videos as well. So please do check that out. If you need a buttery man voice for your project, look me up.
I'll go next because I'm easy. So you can find me mostly on Twitter at Charlotte Ashley, same as my name. That is my handle on every piece of social media that I have ever tried out. So feel free to add me wherever you like, but you're mostly going to find content on Twitter.
Karine, or Jaym, go ahead.
I cannot hope to compete with Dave's amazing URL. That's a really great site. I'm Jaym Gates, and I'm very boring to find online, but very easy. So it's just at Jaym Gates on Twitter or jaymgates.com. I'm also on Facebook as Jaym Gates. So feel free to follow, say hello, whatever you might want to do.
Okay. I'm Karine Cronfley. On Twitter, you can find me as Bullshot at Bullshot UK, BULLSHOT UK. I've found on many drama podcasts, including BBC Doctor Who Redacted. I will eventually, in the not too distant future, have the website dramaticvoice.co.uk. I found a nice one.
Lovely.
And I'll be having there's stuff coming out practically every week with me in it these days. But more interesting stuff's to come. Some of it under NDA. Who knows? Anyway, love it. Thanks for everyone. It's been great.
And I'm Michael R. Underwood, one of the 3 co-hosts of Speculate, a TTRPG actual play show with science fiction fantasy professionals that also airs on this channel. We are currently doing Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire, which is a game of dream conspiracies and techno dystopias and trying to stay and make friends despite all of the above. I am at Twitter at Mike R. Underwood. I stream video games at twitch.tv/turbotango. And this coming Friday, Speculate is starting a new series playing Court of Blades by a couple of Drakes. And we're going to kick it off with a world-building game playing Ex Novo by Shark Bomb Games. And so that is Friday, the 17th of June at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we would love to see all of you there. For Bag of Giving, co-run by Brandon Crilly and myself, I want to say thank you to Dave, Charlotte, Karim, and Jaym for lending your time and your talents today, and remind everyone that we are raising funds for Max Ottawa and TENT, the Transgender Education Network of Texas. If you're in a position to be able to give, we would love for you to do that, and then you can get in touch with us at Bag of Giving to tell us about your donation, and we'll enter you into the giveaway for a critique of a short piece of fiction. And then we are going to have another Bag of Giving game, which I'm going to look up the time of so that I don't get it wrong. We will return to this channel for another game later this month, which will be June the 20th, playing The One Ring, 2nd edition, a Lord of the Rings RPG. Folks who are here are familiar with The Adventures of Middle-earth. This is a different Lord of the Rings role-playing game, and this game is takes the premise of what would happen if Gandalf took the One Ring, and we go from there. And that's going to be GM'd by Brandon Crilly, with players Ramsey Avery, Marie Bilodeau, Sharung Biswas, Kate Hartfield, and Wabshking Rice. So that is June 20th, 7 p.m. EST. Stay tuned for that. And thank you again to Arvin Eleron, our lovely host, for sharing his platform with us at Bag of Giving. And thanks to everybody for watching. Take care. Bye.
Cheers.